Voters decide coverage now. No surprise in the race for Pennsylvania's next governor. The candidates were unopposed, so Democratic Governor Josh Shapiro and Republican Stacey Garrity now officially move on to the general election in November.
Are you ready to go to work? Are you ready to win up and down this ballot? Are you ready to reclaim our country?
I, spent 30 years in the Army, and the Army teaches you to stand firm because your mission is to protect the people that you're there to serve. And your battle buddy doesn't ask you when you're in a foxhole what your political affiliation is. They want to know that you have their back, and I will always have Pennsylvanians' backs.
Now, in the race for lieutenant governor, current Lieutenant Governor Austin Davis ran unopposed. On the Republican side, Jason Ritchie, who Garrity endorsed as her running mate, beat John Ventry. In state house races, Representative Summer Lee cruised to a win over Will Parker. These are U.S. House races, I should say. Lee is running for her third term, representing Pennsylvania's 12th district, which includes Pittsburgh. She'll face off with Republican James Hayes in November. In the 17th congressional district, Republicans chose Beaver County Sheriff Tony Guy to take on Representative Chris DeLucio this fall. That district covers a good part of Allegheny and Beaver counties. An upset in the race for the 50th district seat. Five-term incumbent Bud Cook lost his primary fight to Ben Humble. This seat represents Greene County and parts of the Mon Valley in Washington County. Now, Allegheny County Council President Pat Katina lost his race over political newcomer Brittany Blome for the Democratic nomination for the 45th district seat, and a tightly contested race for the 12th district House seat. Right now, Scott Timko has the edge over Ethan Nicholas. Democratic candidate Brandon Dukes ran unopposed. Now, State Senator Wayne Fontana fended off his first primary challenger in more than 2 decades, beating Paul Steenkista for the 42nd district race, which covers a significant portion of Pittsburgh and surrounding communities. And State Senator Tamara Bartolotta defeated challenger Al Buckton in a contentious primary race for the Republican nomination in the 46th district. She's seeking her third term in November against Democrat Evan Snyder. Now, KDK political analyst Jon Delano is joining me now. And John, a lot of exciting races. I know we mentioned the U.S. Representative Chris DeLucio in the 17th. What are you seeing there?
Well, I think, first of all, everyone should be clear. One election ends, the next one begins right away. And I know some people will say, I don't want any of this stuff. Well, I'm looking at a couple races for the fall, and the 17th congressional is certainly one of them. As you note, Congressman Chris DeLucio is now being challenged by the Republican Sheriff Tony Guy of Beaver County. Why is this race important? Well, because the control of the U.S. House of Representatives is going to be at stake this November. And this is really going to be a test of whether Democrats can hold on to the seats they have and at the same time pick up Republican seats back in eastern Pennsylvania. There are 4 seats that are up for grabs Democrats think they can have. Now, there's another race that I'm looking at, which is the 14th congressional. And this one, you might say, why would anybody be interested in this? It's solid Republican. It's basically Washington County, Westmoreland County, Greene, Fayette, Somerset County. It's an area that is strongly Republican. But if you take a look at the results from yesterday, Democrat Alan Bradstock, who is an Iraqi war vet, a retired FBI agent, a moderate Democrat, he got 48,500 votes. Reschenthaler, the Republican in a solid Republican district, only got a couple thousand more, 52,000 votes. And so a lot of folks think that if there's a sleeper, it's a race like this one in the 14th district where Democrats, if they really come out to vote, could make a difference. And then the final race we'll take a look at this fall, we're going to watch, will be the 38th senatorial district. Republicans control the state Senate by 27 to 23 representatives or senators. Lindsey Williams is the incumbent there, a Democrat. But Tom West, who ran for mayor and has a name, is taking on Williams. And so, again, this district is in the North Hills and part of the city down into Highland Park, Stanton Heights. We're going to keep a watch on this. And, of course, there's a lot of other races we'll talk about later.
Well, I know you'll be joining us throughout the evening. John, thanks for your analysis.
Always good to be back.
Our election day now just 167 days away. KDKA is your election headquarters. And from now till November 3rd, we will be following all the local, state, and national races that matter to you.
With the primary behind them, Governor Josh Shapiro and State Treasurer Stacey Garrity now look forward to November when Garrity will try to deny Shapiro a second term. They both ran unopposed in yesterday's primary.
And so, with a firm commitment to staying in the game and doing my part, I stand before you tonight to again accept the Democratic nomination for governor of the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
I can beat Josh Shapiro because Pennsylvanians understand we are at a crossroad and we have to decide what kind of state do we want to be. Are we going to be a state that works for politicians, or are we going to be a state that works for families?
And now 166 days to go until the midterm election. We'll learn if Shapiro gets a second term and about whether the power in Congress could shift. Glad to have you with us here at 5:30. I'm Ken Rice.
And I'm Christine Sorensen. Now, KDK political analyst Jon Delano is joining us.
John, what is there to pay attention to now? Now that the primary is behind us, right. we knew it would be Shapiro and Garrity, but what will you be watching in the next few months?
Well, I think, first of all, just watching their style, what is it they're going to focus on? And for Shapiro, he wants this election to be a referendum on Donald Trump, on the president. Whereas Stacey Garrity wants every focus to be on Shapiro and what he has or has not done. And so we're going to see a lot of talk about Trump in this election, even though he's not on the ballot, he's not running in Pennsylvania. And, you know, I think that we're going to, again, see whether Garrity has the wherewithal to bring a focus on Josh Shapiro. She had a litany of things that she says that he has not done, and we'll see if that happens.
What about turnout? How big is that going to play, especially coming for the midterms?
Yeah, turnout is very interesting. And even though overall turnout was low yesterday, when I look at the numbers, we saw far more Democrats. 1.1 million Democrats statewide came out to vote in the governor's race. Only 638,000 Republicans came out to vote. And even when you, and by the way, just to put some numbers on that, 29% of Democrats voted versus 18% of Republicans.
Wow.
That kind of turnout is deadly for Republicans if it happens again this fall. And we noticed in some of the counties around here, like Westmoreland County, which always votes Republican, there were actually 5,500 more Democrats voting than Republicans. So turnout is going to be key. And by turnout, what we mean is enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Who's enthusiastic about getting out and voting? It's going to be fun to watch.
I know you will enjoy watching it. We will enjoy talking about it with you as the months go by.
I'll be here.
Only 166 days. John, thank you very much. With yesterday's primary election behind us, we look ahead to the general election in November, in particular, the race for governor of Pennsylvania. Political analyst Jon Delano joins me to look at that. So 4 years ago, John, we had Governor Josh Shapiro running for his first term against Republican Doug Mastriano. This time it's Shapiro running for re-election against State Treasurer Stacey Garrity. Shapiro defeated Mastriano fairly handily. Will Garrity put up a bigger fight, a better fight?
Yes, absolutely. Stacey Garrity is somebody who is much better known, frankly, than Doug Mastriano was, who was a state senator. Garrity is, after all, treasurer of Pennsylvania. She's won statewide elections here in Pennsylvania. And there's another factor, and that is that President Trump and the Trump allies want to bloody up Josh Shapiro because of the thought that he might want to run for president in 2028. So that means Stacey Garrity is going to get more money. Mastriano had very limited funds, and Shapiro was able to really run ads all around him. I think this is going to be a much different race. Whether the outcome changes much, we'll see, because Josh Shapiro has been a popular governor. But I do think it's going to be different.
You hear his name often mentioned when people talk about who might be the Democratic nominee, or at least who would run for the Democratic nomination in 2028. Do you have any doubt?
For president.
For president, excuse me. Do you have any doubt that Shapiro's going to run?
Yes, I'm not entirely convinced. You know, it's very hard to make judgments about whether or not the climate is right for you, and particularly in the Democratic primary for him. I think he's going to want to keep his mouth shut, certainly through this gubernatorial election. So I don't know that we're going to get a clear signal until after that election is over. I think the chances are 99% that he runs, but I'm not going to say it's 100. I just don't think so.
Okay, well, that's a pretty big expectation, though.
I think so.
John, thank you very much. The November election, by the way, 167 days away, and KDKA is your election headquarters. From now through November 3rd, we'll be following all the local and state races that matter to you.